Peace to the MWAs. I want to bring your attention to a specific commandment right now, little flock. That commandment is, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not tempt. Do you see that? This is something that Yahusha had to quote when he himself was being tempted of the devil. Do you see it, little flock, already? When he was being tempted, he had to tell the tempter, you don't know that you ain't got no business tempting the Lord your God? You don't know you ain't supposed to do that or something? Well, most people do it all the time. They just don't know that they're doing it, just like most other sins. But I want you MWAs to understand this today, what it means to tempt I am your power. What does it mean to tempt? I want you to consider yourself in a marriage or in a relationship with a woman. Now, in that relationship, let's say you tell her something. In other words, you put a boundary in place. You say, I don't like this, or don't do that. You see? Just like Abba did with his wife. Don't tempt me. See? That was one of the things he said too. So then you being a married man, you tell your wife, don't tempt me. Are you wrong for saying that? For telling your wife, don't tempt me? Now what does it mean? That's the question. Because if you tell her not to do it, you damn sure better know what it is you telling her not to do. And you better beware for yourself doing it when you're dealing with the Most High, right? So as I was stating, you take a border or a boundary and you place it there and you say, I don't want you to do this, or don't do that. Her tempting you would be her doing it to you to see the reaction that you're going to do. Or in other words, doing it to see if you're going to actually fortify your own boundary or stand on what you've said. That's evil to do that. That's why God said don't do it. But how many people, watch this, how many people have gotten to a relationship and that woman starts to tempt you? In other words, she starts to test what you have said. I don't like to be spoken to in this way. Don't speak to me that way. She will intentionally speak to you in that way to see if you're for real about what you said. That's called tempting you. Now, how do you feel when you get tempted? You feel disrespected. You feel irate. You get indignant. You get angry. Why? Because of the disrespect of the person not adhering to your word. Not having enough wherewithal within themselves to respect what you've said. Don't speak to me like that. They do it anyway. And then let's say you just say, all right, I said I don't want to be spoken to that way, but you just insist on doing it anyway. So you just clam up. You just say, all right, I'm just going to be quiet. I'm going to act like I didn't notice it. That person is now taking inventory of that reaction. Wait a minute. They told me not to do this. I did it anyway. And then I didn't even get a whooping for doing it. So then it must not really be a real boundary or something. You not read the Bible where it says trespasses? You see why God says don't tempt? Because when you tempt, you trespass another person's sovereignty, bitch. Did y'all understand that? Because I need y'all to hear it today. Y'all act like it's all right to do that to other people. Y'all act like it's all right to swerve into another nigga lane when he cruising along minding his own damn business. Y'all act like it's all right to put a stumbling block in front of another person. To cause them to stumble by putting them in a position to have to reprimand your ass for tempting them. It's like that thing when you tell somebody, hey man, leave me alone. I'm not in the mood. Don't fuck with me today. And they keep doing it anyway. Aren't they testing you? And aren't they tempting you? Now, when you react and hit them in their mouth and knock their damn teeth out of their damn head, then they have the nerve to turn to you and go, oh, why are you so violent? And why are you so mean and evil? Why? I told you, don't trespass, didn't I? Now, this makes me think about a particular scripture that says, men think because the consequence of their action didn't get reprimanded quickly, they thought, hey, I might as well continue on doing what I'm doing. In other words, when you put that border there and somebody trespassed it and you didn't smack the taste out of their mouth, then they keep trespassing it. They feel like, well, why should I stop trespassing it if I'm not going to get my ass kicked for trespassing? That's what the scripture tells you. That's what it's letting you know. Like I've said, you MWAs, there are many, many, many men who will read the commandments of God and think that they're keeping it, not realizing they're tempting God all day long. They're taking his name in vain and everything else he said not to do. They do it all the time, but they think they're keeping his commandments. And the reason why is because they keep it by the letter of the law, which I've already revealed to you is unsatisfactory. It ain't good enough to do that. The scripture makes that clear to you. So you must understand the spirit. That's what I'm giving you today. This is what it means to tempt you. You are a peaceful, calm person. If somebody trespasses against you, they're tempting you to come out of your peaceful, calm state of being, right? Yes. You're like, yeah, they sure are. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand what a temptation is. It's the same thing you're doing to Abba, and that's what I need you to know. Abba says, do this, do this, do this, do this, and don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But if you think to yourself and say, well, I don't think that I'm going to suffer if I do it, does that mean you're not going to? Then that means that you tempted, didn't you? See? Now, do you see why he said don't tempt? Because ain't you suffering now? Because of that? Yeah. See how it all going? Suffering comes from that. So then this is why he says don't. But I guess people like to suffer because they love to tempt. I just described it to you. As soon as you tell a person, think about your relationships, my brothers. Think about the women that you've been with. And think about the times where you have put standards in place or principles that you stand on in place with this woman. And think about how she would do the complete opposite. Deliberately would do the complete opposite. You like, hey girl, you went out the other night. You came home at like 3 o'clock in the morning and you were intoxicated. I'm not going to be with a woman who's willing to do that. Okay. I'm sorry. All right. That's my warning to you. Don't do that shit no more. Then a couple weeks later, she goes out, does the same thing again. She knows she's doing it. She knows she's doing it. She knows she's tempting because she knows she was told not to do that, but she did it anyway. Why? Because she didn't get the taste smacked out of her mouth. That's why. That's what God says, not me. People want to get all in their feelings. Well, God didn't say about getting the taste smacked out of her mouth, grandson. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. But what he said was, because you didn't get punished for what you did, you thought it's okay to keep doing it. Isn't that the way a bad child would be? They would do something, they would not get punished, and do you think they'd stop doing it? Or you think they would do it even more? That's called tempting. So then, temptation can be summed up in a simple equation. And that equation is, you have a state of being, something or someone is enticing you to leave it. And in your case, as men wondered at, your state of being is calm and peace. Calm and peace. Now you dwell among chaos. Hope you heard what I just said there. Your ideal state of being is peace and calm, but you dwell among chaos. I'll say it to you the way Yahushua did. I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Sheep are calm, peaceful animal. Wolves are not. Are they? Okay then. Well, did you hear what he said to you? I send you out as sheep among wolves. Therefore, you're going to have to be slippery. So you're going to have to be wise as a serpent. But since you're calm and peaceful, you're also harmless. A calm and peaceful person is harmless. But they're wise as a serpent, aren't they? You have to be wise to maintain calm in a chaotic situation. You have to be wise in order to stay calm when someone is tempting you. There are times when the person doesn't know they're tempting you. There are times when they straight up know it. When they straight up know it, that's the time when you got to get crafty and slippery like a serpent. The other person doesn't know what you're doing. That's called wisdom of a serpent. The other person has no idea what you're doing. They cannot understand you at all. That's what it means to be wise as a serpent, little flock. That's why I told you, you have to keep your eyes on that state of being. You have to. That's what he meant about putting that fiery serpent up on that staff. You got to stare steadfast at it if you want to live. Y'all hear that? You can't take your eyes off of it and expect to live. It ain't going to happen like that. You got to keep your eyes on it. Y'all hear that? Well, why is it a serpent? I just told you why. Because that's how you're going to live among wolves. You had to be like him. That's what he said, isn't it? If you don't look at it, you'll die. Now, I want y'all to consider for a moment. Refer back to what I asked you when I said, how would you feel if someone was constantly tempting you? Would you feel like they loved you? Would you feel like they respected you? Now, I referenced a relationship with a woman, right? What does the Bible say? How the woman should treat her man. In other words, what does the Bible say about how she should feel about her man? I know this world tells you that the woman is supposed to love her man. That's not what the scripture tells her to do. But it does give her an instruction. And what is that instruction? That she reverence her husband. So now, if she reverences him, when he gives her a boundary, what will she do? Will she test it? Will she tempt to see his reaction by keep on poking to see? Let me keep on seeing it. Let me keep on testing this man's boundaries to see. That's not a companion. That's an enemy. That's not a helpmeet. That's the enemy. You understand what I'm saying to you? She shouldn't tempt. If she is, that's a sign that she's not revering you. Now consider what Abba said when he said, don't tempt the Lord thy God. If he's telling you not to, that means that you're not revering him if you tempt him. Do you see? But you're in a world where people around you cannot help but do that. They're not of your world. Christ made that clear. You are from beneath. I am from above. People that are from above deal with things as though they're from above. People that are from beneath deal with that as though they're from beneath. And the only way people from beneath know how to deal is disrespectfully, evil, selfishly. That's how. And that's the majority, vast majority of people that you're living around. You could tell a person, and this is not just with a man and a woman. This is regardless. This is the point I want you guys to know. You will tell somebody, they'll say, hey, are you busy? I want to call you. I want to talk. And you're just like, I'm busy right now. I don't have time to talk. If they call you anyway, what does that mean? They are now tempting you. See, you've told them, I don't want to talk right now. I don't have time, or whatever the case may be. I'm busy right now. We can talk another time. If they don't hear that, then that means they are not respecting you, nor do they reverence you. See? So if they find themselves being separated from you, then they should understand why then now, shouldn't they? Why did I get disconnected from that guy? Were you disrespectful to him by not honoring his boundaries? Oh, well, Yeah, I mean, there was a few times he said this, but I know I just wanted what I wanted, so I did this anyway. Then you don't love him and you don't respect him. That's what it means. So now he's got to make you respect him. You see what I mean about what happens when you tempt a man? Now I got to make you respect me. You see that there? And you ain't going to like that, are you? Well, then you should have honored my boundary I put there then, nigga. What kind of people are y'all? Where y'all will literally go to someone else's kingdom. You will see a sign right there that says no trespassing. You will trespass it anyway, and then when the arrows get to raining down on your ass, you got the nerve to get an attitude about that shit? Why are y'all shooting at me? You didn't see the sign that says don't trespass? Yeah, I saw it. How come you didn't respect it? Because I wanted to get in here and do what I wanted to do. No, I did what I wanted to do and filled your stupid ass full of arrows, didn't I? Yeah, you did, and I'm falling to the ground dying. Yeah, you are, dumb fuck. Why don't you respect people's boundaries? That's my question. How come that's so hard for you to do? Gosh, grandson, why did you just raise your voice like that? What did God's voice sound like when he said, don't tempt me? How did his voice sound? Was it quiet? If you say it was, I'm gonna smack your dumb ass. Was it quiet when he said, don't tempt me? Grandson, you sure know how to wrap us up and tie us in a damn noose and kick the stool out. I do. I sure do. And as long as you niggas keep trespassing, I'm gonna keep yanking your ass up. That's what I'm gonna do. Because I don't like disrespectful bitches. Period. What y'all feel about them? I don't like workers of iniquity. If a nigga tells me, hey, bruh, I'm not going to have time to do it today, hit me up tomorrow, and I'll make some time tomorrow to do it for you. I'm not going to then call that nigga back 500 times and go, hey, I wanted it done today, though. I'm going to say, all right, no problem. I'll call you tomorrow, since that's when you're available to do it. You're not available today. Even though I want it done today, I will crucify myself here, see, for my friend's sake. But y'all don't know nothing about spiritual things. You think a nigga actually gotta die to crucify. I know. That's all y'all think about is carnal shit. All I think about is spiritual shit. Which one do you think is valuable to think about? Trespasses are always being done. And this is why Yahushua had to add that in when he said, forgive us our trespasses. This is what I mean. Sometimes you do it, you don't know you're doing it. But there are times when you know you're doing it. Niggas will see a girl. They will straight ask this girl, do you got a man? She will say yes, and they will continue their pursuit. But they don't want that happening to their girl. So then are they working iniquity? See what I trying to say to y'all niggas? They're doing the thing that they don't want to be done to them. That's called iniquity then, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But this is what people do constantly. They constantly trespass over other people's stuff. They have no respect for anybody else's things. Y'all hear this today? They have no respect for anybody else's property. They have no respect for anybody else's name. They have no respect for anybody else's style. They have no respect for anybody else's individuality. That's the mind state of a colonizer, which has been running this whole earth for the last hundreds of years. If you're of that mind, you also have the mind of a colonizer. You just seek to take things and change it into the image you want it to be, and it become yours. That's all you seek to do. You cannot allow something to remain in the state that it was before you got there. You got to come corrupt this shit, because that's what colonizers do. You can only be of one of two minds, either that mind of that colonizer or the mind of the one who sets you free. That's the only two minds you can choose from. A freedom mind or a bondage mind. So understanding this in your life has proven where you have fallen short, my brothers. You got to stand like Yahusha did. Don't tempt me, nigga. That's what he told the devil. Don't tempt me. It's written. Don't do that shit. That's how you got to be with people in your life. I said no. You thought you just had to be with your child like that. Nope. You got to be with everybody like that. I said no. Stop trying to pressure me to change that. How rude is that? To try to force somebody else to bend to your will. I'm not yours. I'm already bought and paid for and owned by someone else. So then what the hell you doing trying to own me? I told you guys about the Mustang. You jump on his back. What are you going to do to your dumb ass? Jump on my back and see. I'll prove it to you niggas what I am. Every time a nigga try to jump on my back telling me some shit, I kick his dumb ass right into the dirt. Soon as he comes, yeah. Hey, grandson, I think God would be more pleased with you if you do this. How do you know? What do you mean, how do I know? Well, you said God would be pleased with me if I do this. The word coming out of my mouth proves that God is pleased with me, or he wouldn't have put the word in there. How come the word isn't in your mouth if you know more about pleasing God than I do? I know, Neanderthal. You can only speak that shit when I'm talking to you because you can't compete. Wrong thought can never compete with right thought. And that's what I'm trying to give y'all today. Right thought concerning your boundaries, your manhood, and your integrity. Because that's what these series of videos is aimed at. The men wandered at. In order for you to be a man wandered at, you have to exhibit certain characteristics, don't you? And one of them is being able to stand on your boundary without moving. To stand firm. Because you all have moved in your life off your boundaries. I know this because that's the cycle of being who you are. That's the way it works. You all know that darkness means ignorance. And ignorance means you are not aware of the actual fact. So when that was the case, you weren't aware that you were being tempted and lured. You thought compromising your boundary was a good thing, but it wasn't. It was evil because the other person didn't say, oh, they compromised with me. Now I'll compromise with them when it's my turn. No, that's not what they're thinking. They're thinking, look at him, he's weak. That's what they're thinking. That's what a wolf would think. If a wolf whistled and said, hey, sheep, come this way, and then you did, he's not going to actually think anything negative about that, is he? He's actually going to be shocked, like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought he said the sheep hear my voice. Shit, when I whistled, that nigga came to me. Guess he wants to get ate. Yeah, I guess he do. But I ain't. Because I don't recognize. My shepherd does not sound like that. So I know good and damn well you ain't talking to me, bitch. And if you are, I'm going to simply go, shepherd. I think somebody's trying to be you. I think somebody's seeking to be you. Guess you guys never heard the term Antichrist, huh? Well, I won't make this message very long because it's straight to the point, and it's only about one commandment, which is, thou shalt not tempt. If it's God's commandment and you are one with God, then it's your commandment. Don't tempt me, because you'll find out that I ain't to be trifled with. If you do, you'll end up hurt. You'll end up desolate. You'll end up empty. You'll end up without me. And that's the way it goes. So be blessed, you MWAs and little flockulators. Shalom, Mr.